Hello everyone and welcome back. Long-term viewers of this channel will know that this is the Gravity Tunnel in the University of Sydney. And you would also know that this is the place that basically kickstarted it all. A year ago I came here thinking that, oh, it'd be fun to do a video, and here I am. I basically started the whole channel off one camera and also my phone. Now I have the Pocket 3, which has fancy auto tracking, and I can also do a lot better video with that. So you can compare the footage from, I think it's a year ago at this point. I'll put the link up there, check it out later after this video, please don't click off. But for now, I'm here to do an anniversary video. I'm here mainly to compare basically what I did a year ago and what I can do now. It's not going to be a direct comparison because yeah, the weather's pretty bad, and also I am not planning to shoot at night. But overall, I think it's going to be pretty fun to compare what I've done in the whole year and also talk a little bit about what I am planning ahead, because there are a lot of things that I've thought about and considered at this point. So without further ado, let's go ahead for some B-roll as I usually do now and set up the shot. Alright, after a really long setup process, I actually checked the recording just now, it's 42 minutes. Oh my god, but that's what you get with high-risk shots. So here I have the first shot of this setup. I'll compare it to the one I did a while ago later, but for now let's take a look at what I'm using today. 15 to 35 at 23mm-ish. I wanted to use 24, but I feel like a little bit wider angle could help a lot at f2.8, because you would need all the, background separation, because it's such a wide angle, and honestly I do hope for an f2.0 lens, but this is a top tier glass, so I would say skill issue at this point. Horizontal composition, your boy loves your wallpapers, hoping the leading line from this pole, or what do you call this, handrail? Oh, yeah, handrail. Hopefully that leads down towards the brighter part of the scene, and hopefully everything's balanced. The lights here are quite complicated, so let me explain. One flash at the back of the doll, basically giving outline to this side of the face. Another flash over there. These are just background lights to highlight the whole figure, because the whole background is really dark, except for that. With two lights, one on top of the camera, one over right behind me. Hopefully they light up the face quite balanced, but I am just a little bit concerned about the eyes as well, because they don't reflect light that well unless you put it at a, say, 45-90 degree angle or so. So hopefully that works out. I think it'll be fine, mostly. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at the shot. I would say it looks good enough. I'll put the shot from a year ago, the one I first started the video with, right up here on screen, just as a comparison. Yeah, it's not the best, let's be honest. So hopefully this year things have gone a little bit better, and I think I need, I don't have a lot of time, so let's go to the quad right over there. Let's have a quick chat before I go on to the quad and continue today's video. I remember when I first started out, I thought, maybe I'll come to the university. It's a place that I am familiar with, and I know places that are available to shoot, and people usually won't bat an eye if I'm talking to a camera like an idiot. And honestly speaking, that was a good decision, but at the same time kind of a bad one. I remember coming here to the spiral staircase thing and thought to myself, well, I'll document myself doing a higher risk shot, and people liked it. That became the thumbnail for the first ever video. It's right up here. Yeah, it's not very good, but at the same time, it was where my starting point was. I remember very clearly when I first started out, I wanted to narrate some things when I was walking, when I was doing B-roll, but I think you can see how quick that fell out. I stopped doing narration, I think 5 or 6 episodes in, because it really wasn't that interesting and I wasn't that confident as a presenter myself. Now I am a lot more confident. I have that projecting voice, at least I think so, a little bit more. So I might start doing the narration thing once again, but I'm not too sure how well that fits in my current channel. I remember when I first started out, I used my camera for most of the video and basically relied on my phone for the behind the scenes recording, you know, this bloody thing right here. Yeah, it works, but at the same time it wasn't very good, both because the phone wasn't the best and my camera was, well, it's not a video camera in a lot of ways. It was not very convenient and I didn't really understand how to use it. I also recall when I first started out, I did a lot of thumbnails that didn't quite really hit the spot because I wanted to convey, yeah, this is a Dollfie photography channel and that's pretty much it. Snuck some jokes here and there, but not really that interesting. But everything changed when I went back to Hong Kong in late last year or so. I got the Pocket 3, I got a lot better at video because this thing is just amazing. I'm an idiot with video and this thing basically autopilots the whole thing. And I got a lot more familiar with what I should do in video, how I should present, because I no longer needed to worry about framing, about audio, about basically anything else. I also started doing these really ridiculous thumbnails. I'll put a few up here. Yeah, started with this one, flying back to Hong Kong, 9 hours for this photo, and the insanity slowly but surely piled up. And as you can see, it's been getting to me, but I think you guys do enjoy that because the more insane the thumbnail is, the more people click on the damn thing. Back in Hong Kong, I did a lot of photos and a lot of video and pretty much stayed mostly the same. However, there was one thing I really wanted to try. I really wanted to try YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. I knew that the Pocket 3 was very suited for this because it's advertised as vertical content in a lot of ways and it's very good at that. But it wasn't until all the way when I came back to Australia in I think early March or so that I started doing these reels. They were pretty good, but I didn't quite master them. They get a lot more views than, you know, long form videos like this, but at the same time I enjoy making long form more than just speaking to the camera with, you know, a minute or so. I also started mixing up a lot of things, but because back in Hong Kong, I usually did the behind the scenes just behind the camera, just speaking behind it from the first person view. While that is interesting enough for its time, I thought, yeah, it's not that good in a lot of ways. And I saw how other people were narrating their own photos, narrating their own setup, and I thought to myself, well, I'll start blending an image of myself and also from the first person view. I actually tried out a beta of this when I, well, quote unquote, forgot to film the behind the scenes. I didn't really have time to film from my first person perspective. And that turned out pretty well because a lot of you guys really liked me behind the camera and me in front of the camera just speaking. You know, my mugshot on top of the camera is a pretty good decision. So I thought to myself, well, I'll start doing that from now on, and starting from the first video in early this year when I was back in Australia, I included myself while I was explaining the whole thing. I'm pretty sure that made it a bit more interesting, but at the same time, I don't know how much you guys like that because some people say they don't want to see my mugshot, some people say it's enjoyable to see a person pointing at things and doing the soy face, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. A lot of things have changed throughout this whole year, and I think doing YouTube has made me a more confident person overall and a way better presenter because, yeah, fancy talk would be I can present without stuttering too much, disregard all the editing, all the chops here and there. Good lord, you are loud, oh my god. Not fancy talk would be it has made my bullshit a lot better, and generally speaking has actually helped me with my studies and life in general because I've become a more confident person to just spew bullshit and not blink an eye. So that is nice, I suppose. I would also say the photo side of things definitely have improved throughout the whole year. Not necessarily because of YouTube, but because I needed to do a lot more photos within one day. I couldn't just do one photo and be satisfied with it. That's more of a me thing because I like having 2 photos at least in one video, so I would do 2 in one day. And that basically forced myself to think a little bit more on how to make things a bit more interesting and how to speed up my workflow and also how to combine plans into one. Because if I were to do one sunset, I had to find something maybe indoors for midday or something after sunset that's sort of night or indoor photography. And that made me a lot more creative with my things, at the same time kind of made me a lot more stressed about things, if you get what I mean. I actually had a habit of combining 2 days worth of content into one video when I first started. I think I stopped doing that around Christmas last year because the videos were getting unnecessarily long, and I felt like doing 2 days worth of content and making into 1 week's video wasn't really a good idea. And plus I could just split that into 2 videos, quote-unquote shorter videos, and a lot of people watch that. Turns out I can spew a lot more bullshit than I expected, so these videos haven't really gotten shorter at all, they've just gotten longer and longer and longer. Oh dear lord, I need to fix that actually. That might be one of the bigger goals, to stop spewing so much and stop talking so much. With that being said, I feel like a lot of things are going to change in the future. I got 2 new character dolls, which made my photography, I wouldn't say a lot better, but more of, I finally got something that I love the most, you know, Canon RF, and I love that, making me a lot more creative with things. And I've also experimented with new techniques recently. I don't know if you like those or not, because I quite like those. Some aren't up to the usual standard, but some really up there, so hopefully you enjoyed all the new content. However, there is one big thing up in the air right now, which is how long will I continue this for? Because if I were to be honest with you, carrying this bloody thing around is really not that sustainable, because it's really heavy, and yes, I know I'm relatively young, but at the same time, my back isn't really helping that much. I don't really have a solution for this, because this carries what I need for photos, and I have already made some compromises to make it not as heavy. I switched out different lenses, I tried different setups, and this is probably the best one now. Not only is the backpack heavy, all of this takes a lot of time. Filming the whole day, planning out the whole thing, and then also editing the video and the shorts and the reels and whatever. It really does take a lot of my life, and honestly, I feel like it's really stressful on me. I've only gotten 300 subs in 1 year, and honestly that is not really that enough. Watch time is pretty decent, but maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on myself, because you know, I just started out and everything isn't exactly that well done yet. I hope to be a lot more proficient, or however you pronounce that word, in other things, so hopefully that's a sign for better things to come. Or I might just quit this whole thing and stop doing it, because it is really taxing. If everything goes right, you would at least see me doing content until late next year, but I cannot make any more promises after that. At most, maybe I'll make it to the 2-year anniversary, but who knows? You might see a video that's absolutely not clickbait and me sitting here explaining why I will not be doing content anymore in the future. Maybe it'll be next month, maybe it'll be 2 years later, who knows? But anyway, enough of my mugshot and me just talking about this bloody channel. Let's go do some photos. Before I go on with this shot, I feel like I have some explaining I need to do. Originally, I was supposed to go somewhere indoors, a staircase going upwards to the quad, the second floor. However, someone was having music theory class, the piano was really loud, so I don't think I could have recorded anything of me talking. And also someone was doing maintenance of the lights, so it was basically dark in there. There was really no point in me doing a photo inside, so I just gave it up, came out here. Hopefully I can do that one later, because that one is quite a nice shot. And plus, it's a direct comparison to what I did last year. But anyway, let's take a look at what I'm using right now. 15 to 35 at a little bit over 28mm. I think it's around 29, 30 or so. I want to use 35, but not really a choice here because it's really limited. At f2.8, because at this kind of focal length, you will need all the background separation you can get. The tree right above the doll and the tree right behind there is really, really distracting. Even through f2.8, I think you would need around f2 or f1.8 or so, but I don't think that's really an option here. Horizontal composition, everything is not exactly very stable. As you can see with the tripod, it's, how should I say this? All the legs are at a different angle, and because it's carbon fiber, yes, it's sturdy, but it kind of bends a little bit. And plus the ground is really, really wet. So yeah, it's slippery, slides around quite a bit. Not exactly the best thing ever. Lighting situation, as always, is quite complicated as well. One flash I'll be holding, say, right down here or so. That's just for the bottom of the doll and the bottom right here, because it's really, really dark down here. It's a black dress, black handrails, everything's dark. So hopefully that gives a bit of outline. One light on top of the camera just for the reflection of the eyes. Hopefully that works out. I'm not too confident in it, but that's the best I can do. There's one more flash over there, which is going to be really high output because, you know, distance with this is like less than a meter, and that over there is like, I don't know, a solid 6 or 7 feet. So that's going to be quite some issues if I don't fine-tune the flashes. However, I think this looks all right, relatively okay. So aside from the ground feeling really disgusting, I think this is a pretty good shot. So let's take a look at the shot right now. I would say decent filler shot here. It's not exactly very good, but at the same time, I get a new wallpaper, so I'm not exactly complaining. I think I might go indoors and probably clean up all the stuff first before I go on, because everything is pretty dirty. My bag fell in the, I wouldn't say the ditch, but more of the grass over there, so it's kind of muddy, including the tripod bag as well. I'm just having it lie on the ground at this point, because no point having it stand up and fall over every like minute or so. So yeah, I gotta clean up everything, change up everything, and hopefully I can get the third shot. So this is the quadrangle building, well, more precisely, the one inside it. The staircase is right behind me, you see that? But I don't think this time around I'll be shooting those staircases because they're not exactly very easy to shoot, and there's going to be a lot of people walking back and forth, so I don't want to be a nuisance. Plus the photo last time, this one right here, wasn't exactly that good. So I am thinking something around the lines of maybe this angle here, a very constrained photo, maybe say 100 or 135mm or so, something like that could work. However, the lighting is going to be quite challenging to say the least. I am up for a challenge and some fun, so this will probably work out. I will need to change everything out, so you know, that's that as well. However, there is something I need to be honest with you. I might just shoot this photo, one more, and maybe perhaps pack up for the day because I am very tired and almost running out of creativity. This is probably the best I could muster up for this place. I know it's not a direct comparison compared to last year, however, I do think that it's a fair one, seeing that I can see what I can do given a place that I'm not very familiar with and given very little time, because I am also kind of running out of time. So without further ado, I'm going to go on for some changing, some B-roll, and let's set the shot. After a relatively quick setup process, here we have the third and last shot for the day. Now, before I go on to anything, this shot is definitely very unorthodox by my own standards, because with this kind of scene, I would typically prefer, say, a wider angle to show everything, like the ceiling, like the staircase, like the whole building itself. However, I came to realize that that won't work simply because of how this place was built, and I have also, technically speaking, never really shot the windows because, well, they're high up and I couldn't really touch them in a way, so why bother? I kind of figured out a way to shoot them, so let's take a look at what I'm using. 7200 f2.8 at 100mm, giving a little bit more emphasis on the subject. Vertical composition, same thing as well, not letting the background distract too much. However, f5.6, because at 100mm, everything in the background is just gonna get blown out anyway, so I do want some attention at the background, some more to look at, aside from just the doll itself. The lighting situation, however, is quite complicated, to say the least. So, the back itself is quite okay. It's very backlit. The windows give very cool lighting. However, there is this massive light right at that pillar, which casts a very cool effect on the doll. So it's very backlit. There's that outline I always want. However, this means everything in front is extremely backlit. Therefore, I have one light on top of the camera, the other light on top of that piano over there. These are the main lights for the face and eyes themselves. Hopefully they balance out, and the color temperature is uncomfortable here, to say the least, so I think it's all right. Two flashes, one right behind the Pocket 3 itself and one right behind me here, giving that slight boost to the outline as well. So this flash right behind me is also going to be used for the face itself and slightly reflecting on the eyes. Hopefully that works out, because everything is black and white and the background is, technically speaking, brown and a little bit colorful. So hopefully that works for a pretty good contrast. Anyway, enough of me explaining this, let's take a look at the shot. I would say it's an okay shot, a cool looking phone wallpaper, but really nothing else above it. I'm not sure what you guys would like, but to my taste, not exactly 100% what I prefer. However, I might try, say, stack a little bit, make the highlights in the background not so blown out in a way, but I'm not sure. Maybe the R5 can handle one frame or something, but I'll shoot the stacking photos just in case. So editing me, let me know if I've stacked any photos. Very good, I'm done with my quota for today, 3 photos, and honestly, I feel like they have been way better compared to last year. I mean, honestly, it has to be way better. A full year of shooting nothing but dolls, it has to improve somehow, right? I think the main improvement is actually lighting and scouting for a location instead of the other more trivial things, because I now understand that not everything has to be wide angle, because I brought the 70-200, you know, and that's a really good lens and has made me, or forced me in this sense, to be a better photographer, because I can't just have everything in the shot. I actually kind of understood that with a 24-70, but my reliance on the 15-35 really didn't change things for the better. Comparing this video to my first one is honestly night and day. I don't think there's enough of an improvement overall, but a lot of you do tell me I shouldn't be that harsh on myself, so who knows. I now understand the basics of how to film a video and how to pace things, and also how to present like a normal person in front of a camera instead of just stuttering every like 2 seconds or so. So I think it made it better, but I don't know, it's up to you honestly, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Before I end this video, some housekeeping first. I'm actually filming this video on the 15th of August, yes, mid-August, and I am pretty sure you're gonna see this video mid-October also, because I have a massive backlog. I filmed a lot of stuff in advance because I wanted to visit most, if not all, the spots I could before I leave back home. Because of my change in schedule, I'm actually going back home way earlier, and yes, I'm going back to Hong Kong for the next video, so you will see me not in Sydney, but back home, basically that. So I wanted to film everything and go to all the spots that I wanted to before I left. So there's a lot compressed in these few weeks, however, you're going to see them across a few months. For me, I am going to take a little break before I actually start filming again in Hong Kong, because I am not only burnt out physically, creatively, yeah, a little bit burnt out as well. So I might be taking a month break between things before I actually start going for photos and videos again. However, for you, it's going to be content as usual, because I have 2 months of backlog. I can just take a month of break and not really think that much about it. I'll also be traveling a lot more this year. I'm actually going to Japan later this year, and I am planning a Taipei trip further down. Maybe I'll go visit some of my friends and go to that Doll event. I think it was late November or something. So if you guys are interested, subscribe. Please, thank you. I think a lot more traveling is going to help my mental health and also help diversify this content, because I do want to branch out a little bit, but I don't know how, honestly. So this is definitely going to help at least that little bit. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the anniversary video. This is going to be a long one, and I know. So thank you very much for sticking to the very end. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how much I've improved or not improved throughout the year. And I'll see you in the next video. And also, here's to another year of content making. Lemon, out.